exist once, long ago, before time itself began to count its days. There was a kingdom made entirely of snow. Its mountains sparkled like silver crowns, its rivers sang in crystal tones, and its forests shimmered under cloaks of frost. In the very heart of this glimmering land stood a castle of blue ice, the home of the Winter King, a spirit as ancient as the stars and as gentle as the falling snow. His hair was as white as moonlight on a clear night, and his eyes were as clear as frozen lakes. Wherever he walked, snowflakes would dance in the air like tiny loyal stars greeting their king. The Winter King ruled his realm, not with soldiers or swords, but with a profound silence and an unshakable peace. His very breath brought delicate frost to window panes and a magical shimmer to the meadows. His hand with infinite care guided the fall of each snowflake, ensuring that no two were ever the same. But even though his kingdom was breathtakingly beautiful, the Winter King was deeply lonely. Every year he would watch from his icy throne as the seasons turned. He saw the vibrant blossoms of spring, heard the golden laughter of summer, and felt the soft, wistful rustle of autumn. And then, when his own time came, the world would grow quiet and still beneath his blanket of snow. Yet, while people sang songs to the spring and danced with the summer, they hid from winter. They feared his biting chill, his long dark nights, and the fury of his storms. And so, the Winter King's heart, a heart made of pure, clear crystal, began to develop faint, sorrowful cracks. One day, as he wandered aimlessly through his frozen forest, he discovered a small girl lying motionless in the snow. Her cheeks were pale and her tiny hands were stiff with cold. She had lost her way while searching for firewood for her sick mother. The Winter King knelt beside her, his ancient heart aching, and lifted her gently into his arms. "Do not sleep, little one," he whispered, his voice like the sigh of the wind through pine trees. "Winter is kind to those who believe in warmth." He wrapped her in his own cloak of frost, a garment woven from starlight and ice, and carried her back to his castle. The moment they stepped inside, the cold that usually lingered in his vast halls softened, replaced by a gentle, welcoming glow. The little girl stirred, her eyelids fluttering open. "Who are you?" she asked weakly, her voice barely a whisper. "I am the Winter King," he said, a faint, sad smile touching his lips. "And you, little wanderer, are my guest." He called upon the snow spirit, ethereal beings of light that fluttered through the air like living snowflakes, and they brought her warm milk in a cup carved from ice and blankets woven from pure moonlight. Slowly, the color returned to the girl's cheeks. Soon, for the first time in centuries, the sound of laughter echoed through the castle's silent halls. She told him stories of her village, of the people who waited anxiously for the snow to melt, and of her mother, whose cough grew worse with every cold day. The Winter King listened quietly, his crystal heart aching with a pain that felt like breaking ice. That night, after the girl had fallen asleep by the warmth of a magical, crackling fire, the Winter King walked out onto his balcony. He looked out over his endless, silent white land and raised his hand to the sky. The stars seemed to bend low, as if to hear his whispered plea. "Let my winter bring warmth, not sorrow," he said, his voice filled with a newfound resolve. From that night on, something in the very nature of winter changed. The next morning, the girl awoke to a wondrous sight. The forest was covered not only in pristine snow, but in tiny, delicate blossoms of ice that glowed with a soft, golden light. And wherever these blossoms bloomed, a gentle warmth spread through the air, pushing back the cold. The villagers, who were frightened at first by this strange new magic, soon discovered the blossom's gift. They found that these glowing flowers could keep their fires burning longer, their homes warmer, and their own hearts lighter. They named them Winter's Stars. When the girl finally returned to her home, she carried one of the glowing blossoms to her mother. Its gentle warmth healed her fever, and from that day forward, the villagers began to speak of winter with kindness and gratitude instead of fear. Children now played happily in the snow, their laughter mixing with songs they sang to the wind. Years passed. Every winter, when the first snow began to fall, the Winter King would visit the edge of the village. There, the little girl, now a grown woman, would be waiting to greet him. "You kept your promise," she would say, her smile as bright as the winter's stars. "And you," he would reply, his voice full of a quiet joy, "taught me what warmth truly means." But the greatest magic of all came on the day the woman's child was born. As the baby took its first breath, snowflakes drifted gently through the open window, each one glowing softly with that same golden light. Standing unseen beyond the trees, the Winter King watched, his crystal heart finally whole and radiant once more. His kingdom of ice no longer felt cold or lonely, for it was filled with the echoes of laughter and the glow of light. From then on, wherever winter touched the world, the winter's stars would bloom tiny, glowing reminders that even in the coldest of times, warmth can always be found in kindness. And though few ever saw him again, it is said that the Winter King still wanders through the forests on silent nights, smiling at every home that glows with the light of love and family. For he had learned, as all hearts must one day learn, that true warmth does not melt the ice, it shines right through it. Thank you for joining us for this story. If you felt the warmth of this tale, please like, share, and subscribe for more stories that light up the heart. We'll see you next time.